I decided to come on my phone and make a vlog or just an update on what I've been up to lately and how life is doing, where life has taken me, and just like essentially what I've been up to because I am pregnant. And last time that I made a vlog, I was pregnant, and it's been over a year. But in that period, I remember just being so creatively in tune with what I was doing. And I definitely credit that to pregnancy because it just slows down time for me and it helps me appreciate the moment more. And yeah, I'm there again and I'm starting to get that same feeling again. I wanted to make this video about pretty much what I was experiencing 5 weeks gestation, and 5 weeks in particular because I had just found out I was pregnant and the time was really slow for me in that moment, almost too slow, where I was like, I'm just so early in this gestation. I don't know if this pregnancy is going to stick. And maybe YouTube doesn't know this, but I did experience a miscarriage. I lost the baby at 7 weeks, but when I went and got an ultrasound to check for viability or a heartbeat, the nurse had told me that the baby looked like he was about 4 weeks, so we are assuming that the baby had passed, and my body started to catch up on the news around 7 weeks, and that's when I passed him. So fast forward to 6 months later, I am now pregnant again. And when I found out I was pregnant, I learned the news 2 weeks after conceiving. I went and got a pregnancy test, which my husband tried to persuade me to not do. He has really funny logic. He says that I'm gonna find out one way or another, so I'm pretty much just wasting my money on pregnancy tests, which makes sense, but I did because the curiosity was killing me, and I bit the bullet, went and got one, and lo and behold, it was positive. And that was really a beautiful experience. I felt like I was pregnant for the first time all over again, and I shared the news to my husband the next day. So we conceive. 2 weeks later, I find out that I am pregnant, but the way that the gestational calendar works is they find when the egg in your ovaries was made, and they go off of how old the egg is rather than your date of conception. So instead of being 2 weeks pregnant, I was 4 weeks pregnant. So pretty much the following week came. Here we are at 5 weeks. I began to feel that time is then moving slow, and I feel like I'm just tracking every little symptom that I can possibly depict. Even though I had nothing, I still had stuff. I felt acne coming up in my skin, which is not something common for me. I don't normally break out, but I did get tiny pimples around my face, and that was definitely abnormal for me. As far as physical changes in my body, I did not change very much, nor did I have bloating, swelling of the breasts, or fatigue. None of that really. It was mostly mental. I felt like my senses did heighten just for like one day. You know, like when you turn up the saturation and the brightness and just like all of the settings on a picture, that's what I was sensing, but with my sense of smell. It was really odd. Like, it was almost like they turned up everything in what you can categorize as smell, where I could smell like all of the chemicals that we have used in this house, plus my because we had been renovating all summer, and when I got pregnant, we were already in winter. So we had already lived in the house. We have already cleaned and just lived in the house to where, like, you wouldn't normally depict whatever chemicals we used, like paint and joint compound and like new carpets and all of those things. But suddenly I could just smell all of that plus my crawl space. I could smell everything in this house, and it was really unpleasant. Things were pretty like mental for me. I felt like I needed to validate my pregnancy, so I did go and get an HCG sample at my local blood testing facility. So I went and got a blood sample, and I went and got one again, and lo and behold, my HCG levels were doubling by the day, and that was really exciting. So it was just really reassuring that things were, moving along and my hormones were increasing by the day. I did have a really intense dream one day. I can't remember exactly what happened in my dream, but it was vivid. It was impactful enough to impact me for the rest of the day. And I remember thinking, like, I mean, despite the fact that it was an intense dream, I feel like this is good, because whenever I have vivid dreams and intense dreams that leave me thinking and pondering for the rest of the day, that usually means that my pregnancy is moving along, because I've had that with my first pregnancy. I had like very intense vivid dreams. Many women explain that they have a heightened subconscious when they're pregnant as well. So it's not just me, it's many women around the world who experience the same thing. So yeah, overall my emotions were really heightened during the 5th week gestation. I felt like every time I was using the bathroom, I was checking to see if there was any signs of a miscarriage, which I know is not the best thing to do, but I really didn't want to get my hopes up. And really every time I was using the bathroom, I just kept recalling like the time when I randomly did have that experience, and it's hard not to think about that when you are experiencing pregnancy all over again. But instead, I got positive reassurance that my pregnancy was moving along really well. So instead of getting a bloody discharge, I got a different scent when I was using the bathroom. It felt like I smelled pregnant, which is not really a smell that you can like describe unless you're a woman and you've been pregnant before, and or maybe like her partner. But yeah, I smelled pregnant, and that was reassuring to me. What really helped me throughout the journey of early pregnancy was just appreciating what I had when I had it. So, and accepting that nothing comes with zero risk. Life does not have a zero risk. Pregnancy does not come with zero risk. So essentially just appreciating my pregnancy and holding my baby while I still have him is just the best I can do and the most I can hold on to. I still don't know the gender of the baby, nor do I want to. I've already done the thing during my first pregnancy. I did prenatal appointments, I did the ultrasounds, and it's not really me. I don't really align with going to an OBGYN office to do things that I can do at home, like measure my weight, check my blood pressure, and I do those things already because I like to know that I'm healthy. So yeah, I decided I actually want to have a wild pregnancy, which basically means that you are not seeking any professional care while you're going through your pregnancy, nor will you seek professional care when you are having your birth. And as an outsider, you might think, well, if you've experienced loss before, wouldn't you want a medicalized process now that you do have a viable baby? Well, my response to that is, if stillbirth happens, God forbid it happens to me, miscarriage in pregnancy happens, miscarriage happens in the first trimester, it happens in the second trimester, it happens in the third trimester. If there's not much a doctor can do if there is no heartbeat, so I don't really see the need of seeing a doctor. And if you've experienced prenatal care before, it's not anything special. It's really just meeting with a healthcare provider to record your vitals, and then you talk about how you're doing physically, mentally, emotionally, and then they point you to resources, or they offer antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication, which is something that I don't take anyway. Healthcare providers also have a view on birth that does not align with me. I believe in natural, physiological, sovereign birth, and the sovereignty comes from God and not doctors, not me. So it's God's will. And I feel the same way about holistic midwives, because even though I did have a holistic midwife for my first pregnancy, which I loved. I would crawl over broken glass to birth with my midwife again. However, I cannot justify the price anymore because she was able to sit at my birth enough for me to look back and realize, like, I'm the one doing this. I'm the one birthing. She is witnessing my birth just as much as she is there in case emergencies occur. But at the end of the day, I birthed the baby. I birthed my son, and she put him on my skin. We nursed, and I paid her $6,000. And I feel like when I experienced my miscarriage, I was very anxious, of course. And I, like, you would think that my mind would be completely changed and I would go back to what I know. But I did feel that way. I did feel anxious. I did have the urges to get ultrasounds and check the heartbeat of the baby with a fetal Doppler. But now that I'm further along, that anxiety has completely tamed, and I feel like I'm back to that wild woman that I became when I birthed my son. And that is why I am choosing a wild pregnancy and why I am choosing to free birth. So essentially, yeah, I mean, I can obviously go a lot deeper into why I am choosing the free birth, but those are essentially, in a nutshell, like, I don't believe in the healthcare system And I also believe in myself more than I believe in handing over my care to a holistic midwife. My midwife is the one who enabled that in me, in fact. So yeah. But yeah, those were my symptoms of the 5-week gestation, and I'm doing really well. I'm 15 weeks now, and I will probably come on here and talk more about pregnancy, and as well as obviously talk about my faith journey and talk about my kids, my family. Yeah, I definitely want to just take advantage of YouTube because it's a major outlet that I've always liked, and I've always seen myself putting myself out there via YouTube. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys very soon.